Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. In today's video we are going to be testing out a full face of Charlotte Tilbury makeup. Technically it's not a full face because they are mainly face products. I have only one product for the eye, which is the eyeshadow palette I used in today's makeup look. I don't have any mascara, eyeliner, lip liner, lipstick, none of that from her. None of the eyebrow products I used today are from her. But basically what happened is that I wanted a primer, a foundation and a setting powder from her, and I went on her website to see how much they cost, and at the time she was running a sale where if you picked up a bundle you would pay less. Plus on top of that you were getting, I believe, 20% off. And basically I ended up picking up a lot more things than I wanted to. I have 7 products to show you and discuss. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright, so as you can see my brows are done already. I don't have any brow products from Charlotte Tilbury, so we're gonna skip that part and we're gonna jump right into the primer. And for the primer, I've got here the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I feel like this is one of her most famous products for sure. This is basically a liquid luminizer. You can use it as a liquid highlighter after you finish applying your foundation, or you can use it mixed in with the foundation to make it a little bit more luminous. You can also use it under your foundation, either as a primer or just apply it to the areas where you would normally wear your highlighter, and that way you're gonna have a more natural looking, more subtle highlight too. And like I said, I have this in the shade number 2. As you can see, it's quite a lot lighter than my skin, but once you blend it out, it really is just like a luminizer. So I feel like it's a quite forgiving product. It doesn't really matter which shade you pick up as long as you don't buy something that's completely off the chart. So I feel like for me any of the light shades would have been fine. I went with number 2 and I think this perfectly suits my skin tone. I am going to apply a little bit to start with to see how it is, and then we see how it goes. I'm gonna do half of the face first just to see the difference it makes, and then once we're done, we're gonna apply it on the other half of the face as well. I don't want to add too much because I don't know how much I need. I feel like the warmth of the fingers help it blend better. Yeah, as you can see, it looks really, really natural. And I also think it does a good job smoothing out the skin. Obviously, whether it's pore filling or not, we will only find out once we apply the foundation on the top of it, because so far it's luminous, so it is going to make the pores look bigger, but I'm sure it's gonna be completely different once we have foundation on the top of it. I wouldn't really apply more than this, to be honest, because that would be a bit of an overkill. So I'm gonna go and do the other half as well quickly. It does come in 12 different shades, by the way, so whatever your skin tone is, you will definitely find something that will work on you, because like I said, this is a very forgiving product, and the darkest one actually does look quite dark, so I think they have a quite nice color range there. So that's it so far. I think it looks quite nice. It doesn't do too much though. I wonder if, because I have a combination skin, I should have just put it on the top of my cheekbones and other areas I normally highlight, and not all over the face, because I normally get shiny in my T-zone after a couple of hours. But so far it's looking really nice. I do like it. Is it worth £34? I'm not sure. All of her products are quite expensive, to be honest, and all of the foundations, blushes, they're all in this £34 price range, which is fair enough for a foundation, but I'm not that sure about a primer. I don't have any other primer that's this expensive for sure. Would I wear this on its own? Not all over the face, definitely not all over the face. If I was going for just a very natural look, I would have just put some on my cheekbones and that's it, definitely not on the forehead and on the nose. But as far as I know, the foundation is quite mattifying, so I thought why not just put it all over the face and see how it goes. Like I said, nothing crazy so far. We shall see once we apply the foundation how it looks and if it makes any difference. Well, I guess we're not gonna find out if it makes any difference or not because we never tried the foundation without it, but yeah, we'll see if it keeps the skin luminous after applying everything else. By the way, if you wanted to test out this product but you don't have £34 to buy it, they also came out with a mini version in 4 of the shades for £13. I believe that overall it is going to cost more than the larger version, but if you don't have that money, for £13 you can pick up a smaller version of it. The next thing I have here is the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. This one I have in the shade 3 Cool. I think it looks lighter than my skin, but I heard that it oxidizes quite a lot. So I decided to go with something a little bit lighter and hope that it's gonna match my skin once it dries down. I'm gonna add a bit of it on the back of my hand so we can later check how much it oxidizes, but yeah, right now it looks a lot lighter than my skin. I was originally planning on buying number 5 Cool. I don't know, I think number 5 would have worked. We can make this one work as well, especially now in the winter when my skin is a lot lighter than normal. So yeah, I'm gonna apply on this half of the face using a brush, and then I'm gonna apply on the other half of the face using a beauty blender. I put the product on the brush and I'm just gonna spread it out on the skin. It looks a lot lighter than my skin tone. I normally don't like to wear foundations lighter than my skin, not just because I find tan skin a lot more attractive than fair skin, but also because I found that if the foundation is lighter than my skin, it looks chalky, and that is definitely not the look I'm going for. So I do hope that this is going to dry down a bit darker than this, because so far this is far too light for me. By the way, Charlotte does something that not a lot of people do here in the UK. If you are not happy with your purchase, you can send back the product. So I could technically send this foundation back and get the right shade, but like I said, first I want to see how it looks like once it dries down, because so far it is a bit too light, but maybe it's gonna be my perfect shade once it dries down. So I don't want to be too dramatic about it until we see how it really looks like once it's dry. I can still see a sheen from the Hollywood Flawless filter, so that's quite nice. And I think it was quite easy to blend it out with the brush. My skin tone is really even, and I wouldn't normally use a concealer with a foundation like this because it did cover up my under eye quite well, but of course in this video we are going to use a concealer with it. I'm gonna go and grab my beauty blender quickly and then we can do the other side and compare them. Alright, my beauty blender is here now. I just put 1 pump of product on the beauty blender. That's exactly the same amount I used with the brush. I haven't used my beauty blender in ages actually. I'm just so used to using my brush now because the brush is quite convenient. It's there, I don't need to go and dampen it. It is a lot easier to clean as well. But you know what? I actually think I prefer this foundation using the Beauty Blender. It was really quick to apply it. I think it gives me a little bit less coverage. Maybe that's why I prefer it, because I normally like light coverage. I have been reading a couple of books from makeup artists lately, and I noticed that they hardly ever use foundation. 99% of the time they just spot conceal and let the skin show through. So I definitely have been trying to use less foundation myself as well. I just think that in this world of YouTube and Instagram, we're so used to overdoing our makeup. Lately, I noticed that we definitely started going towards a more natural makeup, and I 100% prefer that. I just don't like the feeling of heavy makeup on me. I don't want makeup to alter the way I look. I want it to make me look better but still look like me, if you know what I mean. So anyways, the foundation looks okay. I do feel like I look a little bit pale, but like I said, once it dries down, hopefully that's gonna change. I'm gonna step away from the camera and come back in about 5 minutes and we see if it changed. I'm gonna let this dry on the back of my hand as well, and then we're gonna swatch a little bit next to it to see how much did the color change. Like I said, I do really prefer the side with the Beauty Blender, so I'm gonna blend out the brush side again as well a little bit to kind of try to match the two sides. And yeah, that's it really. I want to let this foundation sit a little bit, so I'm gonna see you guys in a second. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes at this point. I believe it also dried on the back of my hand now. It's definitely darker because it actually looks slightly darker than my hand, and if you remember previously it was a lot lighter. So I'm gonna swatch a little bit of fresh foundation right next to that now. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell that it got a lot darker and a lot more pink toned. As I said, this is a cool tone foundation, and I was originally a bit worried because it did appear to be quite yellow, but thankfully it does dry down a lot darker. I just zoomed you guys in so you can see a little bit better how the back of my hand looks like. So this foundation is also £34, just like the luminizing primer was, and it also contains 30 milliliter of product. It comes in 44 shades. As you can see, the lightest one is almost white and the darkest one is quite dark as well. I'm not sure if it would suit someone with a really dark skin, but I think they have a quite good shade range, and I'm really happy that they have warm, neutral and cool tone shades as well. So the next thing we're going to do now is obviously the concealer. Like I said, I have here the Magic Away concealer in the shade number 2 Fair. I tried to go with something that's lighter than the foundation just to make sure that I get that brightening effect, and well, it would look really bad if my concealer was darker than my foundation. And because the foundation was shade number 3, I wanted to go with something lighter than that, and that's why I picked up number 2. I checked some swatches online and I tried to make sure that I pick up something with a cool undertone. And also on the Charlotte Tilbury website, when you scroll down, it tells you what color of foundation and powder you should match this concealer with, and it recommends it matching with the number 3 cool foundation. So yeah, basically I had to pick up everything online without actually swatching them in store. I've never seen any Charlotte Tilbury makeup in person in my life, so I was kind of blindfolded, and I'm really hoping that this works. Now when you take off the cap, you have a little pointed spongy applicator, very similarly to the Maybelline Age Rewind concealer. I don't really like products like this, but hopefully it's gonna work. I'll be honest with you, the only reason I picked up this concealer was because it came in a set with the powder I really want. They were very cleverly matched together to make sure that you pick up products that you don't really want, but you are just going to because, oh, it's such a bargain. So I never really wanted to have a concealer from her, but because I wanted the powder anyway, I decided to just get this one as well. You do have to twist it quite a few times before you see any product appearing on the top, and I'm actually quite concerned about how little product I have in this. So I don't know how long it's gonna last. It was £24 and you get only 4 milliliter of product, so that is really bad. I always compare my concealers to my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. You get 15 milliliter of product in that one for £22, so it's cheaper and you get almost 4 times more than this, and it's a great concealer. So you really have to be a lot better than that to justify the price of this. I don't think I have any other concealer that has such little amount of product. I really hope that this is magic, because otherwise it's not worth it. I'm gonna do the same thing we did before. I'm gonna use brush on one side and the beauty blender on the other side. Once again, like I said, I normally just blend everything out with brushes lately, including my concealer, because it's a lot quicker and it's really clean. I feel like with the beauty blender, sometimes it's just too big and I'm not going to buy those tiny ones. And also because you are holding it in your hand, your hand's just going to get some product on them. I just find brush a lot more sanitary and easy to work with. I'm not really using my beauty blender lately, to be honest. So half of the face is done. It looks good. I do really like how it looks like in the outer corner of the eye where I have some expression lines. She does claim on the website that this concealer isn't just going to cover up your dark circles and imperfections, but it is also going to lift your eyelid and going to cover up small lines and wrinkles. It is a quite nice concealer. Like I said, I do really like how it looks in the outer corner of the eyes. I'm gonna put a little bit more just here, see if it's gonna have that area. I have this hollow in my eye here that always makes me look so tired. I don't actually know what causes that. I feel like some people have it, some people don't. I really hate it. Sometimes when I have a good day and I drink enough water, I can make my makeup cover it quite well. Other days I cannot. But that's basically my number one aim when I'm using concealer, to try to reduce the appearance of that hollowness as much as I can. It's looking fine, it looks quite nice. Honestly, my only issue with this concealer is one, that sponge. I just don't like sponge applicators. I feel like you waste so much product and there's always gonna be some product left on that sponge that's going to dry. What are you gonna do with it next time? You're gonna wipe it off. You're wasting a lot of product, which would be fine if you got a lot of product to start with, but with only 4 milliliter, you can't afford to lose any product. And yeah, it makes it a really expensive concealer. I think the only other concealer I've ever had this small was my Bobbi Brown concealer, which is a really light coverage, really nice concealer. Again, definitely would not purchase that again due to how small amount you get. I think this one gives a better coverage. It gives you more for your money, but I just think it's unacceptable to give 4 milliliter of product for £24. That's just not good enough. I would not repurchase this concealer due to that and due to the sponge, if they gave us 10 milliliter for £24 and without the sponge, I would repurchase it any day because it is really nice, at least so far. But for this price, I don't think I'm buying it again. Alright, the next thing we have here is the setting powder. This is the Airbrush Flawless Finish Setting Powder. This comes in 4 different shades and I have shade number 1 Fair. The reason I purchased this one is because I watched a couple of videos online and people said that this is the most translucent one. The other ones all have a color to them. And because I wasn't sure if number 2 would be too deep for me, I just decided to go with number 1 to be safe. And looking at the other products I purchased from her, I think this was the right choice. This product is £35. And again, you don't get a lot of product in here. You get 8 grams of product. The packaging itself is quite nice, and as I said in the video where I first mentioned these products in the what would I buy from £1,000 video I did, the reason I wanted this setting powder is because I'm quite bored of loose setting powders. They just go everywhere. I always have them in my eyes, in my nose, and because I wear contact lenses, that's quite dangerous, and I just wanted something I can put in my purse, easy to travel with, easy to use, clean, and I heard a lot of good things about this setting powder. I think I'm gonna carry on doing my makeup the way we did before. I'm gonna apply it on half of my face using a brush and then the other half of the face using a beauty blender. So let's see how it goes. Like I said, I heard really good things about this powder. By the way, I'm not going to apply it all over the face. So for example, I'm not going to put any on my cheeks. The foundation itself is quite matte already, and I do want to keep some of that shine that we have on the face, because otherwise what's the point of using this luminizing primer if then you're going to mattify all of it. So I think the beauty blender does a quite good job with it as well. The only thing I want to say is that I don't like to put a damp beauty blender in a powder product because I feel like it kind of ruins the product. But because the foundation looked so much better with the beauty blender, I just wanted to see how this one would look like. But I definitely think that I prefer the brush with this one. Alright, so far so good. My opinion based on these 4 products is that they are quite overpriced for what they are, except the foundation, because in the foundation you get 30 milliliter of product for £34. That's quite standard. The other products though, they are quite pricey even for a higher end product, considering how much you get for your money. So the price point of them is almost like a Dior or Chanel price point. I did really like everything so far. Like I said with the primer, I don't really know if you need this because you are going to apply highlighter later anyways. But it's nice, like you can still see some of that sheen. It looks quite natural and I quite like it. The foundation is really, really good. The concealer is good as well, but I mean, come on, I can't get over the fact that you only get 4 milliliter of product. The powder is really good. Expensive, you don't get a lot, but it's really good. So yeah, I do really like everything so far, but why is it so expensive and why do you get so little product?